Alright guys, how are we doing today? Steve Minglico, Final Web Design. I want to talk about how I got into freelancing and what freelancing and web development can offer for you. It's a great time to get into it if you are not looking to work a 9-to-5 for a business, or in a lot of cases now even the 9-to-5s are remote. But having opened my first freelance company in 2009, I have been doing this 12 years now. 12 years. I have had a lot of good experiences, a lot of bad experience. And this is just going to kind of tell you how you can get into the whole world of freelancing and what it really has to offer as a potential future for you, yourself, your family, anything you're really trying to do. So why do people get into freelancing? Because it is a good opportunity to work for yourself, to work with other people, and to kind of self-manage yourself, as opposed to having to be responsible for taking calls and stuff from a 9-to-5 type period. Now, as a freelancer, you're going to find that often you end up working more hours than you might expect, because not only are you doing the development for the company or the business, is you're also having to manage conversations with them, emails with them, learning their business, learning their industry, and things like that. So there's a lot that goes into becoming a freelance developer, and you really want to try to start off, and how I started off was getting into simple CMS type websites, the WordPresses, the landing pages, the emails, anything that is pretty basic at the development level. Now, WordPress, obviously, it's been around a long time. It's evolved a lot. Yes, it can get complex. Yes, you might need to know some coding, some HTML, some CSS. If you're doing the back end, some PHP stuff. But overall, it's going to be a lot easier than trying to get into like an application developer position, which might pay higher. However, you got to realize that, if you're learning Vue.js, React, those are very tough languages, and they're very hard for just one person to manage them. That's why often they are managed by large businesses and corporations that have multiple people on their teams. Finding good clients. This is the real goal of freelancing. You're going to find a lot of people out there who are trying to bottom dollar the industry. They want to get the cheapest thing. They don't really, understand what they're getting involved in. They don't understand all that's entailed in a project like a web development. And you want to kind of stay away from these people, and it's nothing against them. They can go find, a cheaper developer and stuff. But if you really understand what you're trying to do for their business, if you're really trying to drive leads, to drive sales, to drive, new potential customers, and to grow their business from a digital perspective, they need to understand that. And that stuff doesn't come free, and it doesn't happen overnight. So being able to find the right clients who are going to be able to afford your services is very important. Now, there's a lot of sites out there, and I kind of got started back when Craigslist was really popular. I would put ads on the Craigslist outlet, and through there I would get a lot of my customers and a lot of my clients. However, as time has gone on, I have continued to, in my free time, build my own personal website with a lot of landing pages, a lot of information, things that are being able to found, and it actually converts very well. I'm the #1 page of Miami Web Design in South Florida, which is a big and growing city, especially in the tech industry. There's a lot of other big corporations and growing every year. I mean, since I've been doing this 12 years now, the area has just become bigger and bigger with technology, and a lot of tech companies and just all companies are coming out this way, which really makes, having your own business and your own freelance website an important tool to have growing. But to get started, there's things like Upwork. Upwork is a really good one. You can go on there, get a few customers and clients. I just say whatever you do to get your first few customers and clients, even if your skills are not up to par, you need to make sure that you're receiving the amount of money. Don't get into a website for $200. Don't get into a website for $500. It's not going to be worth it when all's said and done. I remember I got into an e-commerce, to tell a long story short, one of the first projects I took, and man, I worked on that thing for like 6 months for like $2,000, which $2,000 sounds great when you're taking the first paycheck, but once you got into it, it was like there was jackets, and they had different sizes and different colors and all these multitude options that just made the development insane. And there's so much Photoshop and so much editing of images and stuff that you have to be very cautious as a freelance developer, because people will say, well, hey, you already accepted $2,000, let's get this thing done. And it's like, yo, you gotta understand, I didn't really understand what I was getting myself into. I thought, there might be a few products, not all these multivariants and all these different sizes and shirts and colors, and man, it was overwhelming. So just really try to avoid that, because at the end of the day, you want to keep your deadlines, you want to keep your quality. Quality is super important, especially as a US developer. You want to make sure that your quality is at the top of at the top of the industry. So if you are looking to get into freelance development, now is actually a very good time. There's a lot of opportunity out there with things like what's happened in the last year. It has continued to open up the door for more and more businesses, schools, governments, just really everything and anything now is going online because of the whole situation that we've been going through. So there's a lot of opportunity out there. And the good thing is that as a freelancer, if you do a good job and you do meet your deadlines and you do keep people happy and you do deliver a great product, they're most likely going to stick around. And as a freelancer, I want to say that you should try to find something once the project is completed to keep them on like a maintenance or updates and upgrades type plan, where you continue to take maybe small edits. Maybe they need some pictures changed, maybe they need some edits to the text or the content, and that you continue to provide that service, that you can go in there and make those changes for them with like a monthly retainer fee, say $100, $200, $300, and maybe you communicate, but that keeps those people in the loop forever. And you can have customers and clients that will be with you 10 years down the road. And I still have some. And it's great to have grown with them. And they're not going anywhere, because even if they do try to, which some of them have, it seems that they usually come back, because at the end of the day, they realize that I'm not out for their money. I'm out to give them a good quality product and to keep their business growing and to make them satisfied. So I think it's really important as a freelance web developer that you realize that making a good quality product for them is only going to help yourself. And by getting them on some kind of monthly retainer or some type of monthly updates or upgrades package, because a lot of these CMS platforms like WordPress and Joomla and stuff, they do need to be maintained, they do need to be updated. New versions of the actual CMS, new versions of the plugins and extensions continue to be released, and you want to make sure that you're able to offer your customer and your client a good product in the long run. And if they are a bigger business or if they are a bigger company, they're going to understand that that's what web development in 2021 requires. And a lot of these people who don't do it, within a few weeks or months or a year or two, their sites are getting MySQL injections, and they're getting robot attacks, and they're getting spam emails, and then they get blacklisted, and then their websites go down. And my gosh, they're dealing with more of a headache than if they had just continued to maintain it, update it. In some cases, once the site gets so far gone, they're going to have to just rebuild it from the ground up. So to kind of just wrap up everything, 2021 is a great time to get into freelance development. If you haven't started, I do recommend, using some of these online classifieds and some of these online directories and such, where you're able to get a few basic clients without having to go through the work of building a website, marketing your website, really getting all those customers that come in the long-term game of providing a digital marketing firm that you actually can reference them with a portfolio and things like that. It's much easier to just go get some customers out there right now that are actually looking for those just the development part of things, and then on the side build your personal freelance firm website, so that you can market it and you can build up. And then just make sure that at the end of the day, you're keeping your customers happy, you're building quality products, you're explaining to them, you're being very much in communication. That's one thing. I never miss a phone call. I always pick up. Even there's a lot of times where things might be going a little sour and I'm like, oh, I don't want to take this call, I don't want to go to this meeting. But you know what? You have to. You absolutely have to, because in the long run, it shows them that you care. And if you can man up and just explain it, or woman up and just explain it how it should be, people are pretty understanding when all said and done, especially if you have their trust. So guys, with that being said, I wanted to tell you that getting into freelance is a great idea. This is the year to start. If you can look 5 years down the road and say, this is where I want to be, it's good to get started so that you can start to build up your client base and start to have that side revenue. So if things go, if you don't pick up a new client or something, you always have your old clients. But with that being said, guys, give a like, a subscribe, that stuff helps, and catch me in the next video. We'll have another one followed shortly. Take care. Peace.